Jai Gurudev and good morning, student. Uh, in the last class, we have done how to prepare lyophobic colloid. Now, today we will take some properties of colloidal solution. In this one, first one we are taking colligative property. Now, colligative property is something. If I consider that one with Cp, that depends on number of particles. Now in colloidal what happens? That small particles unite together to gives you a bigger particle. So if these small particles are unite together to gives you bigger particle, means your number of particle decreases in colloidal solution. That is why that your colligative property value also decreases in your colloidal solution, since number of particles decreases. Now in the next one we have to read its optical properties. Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect is scattering of light by Cp, means colloidal particles. So what happens? Colloidal particles little bit bigger one. When the light falls on them, it gets scattered. So this phenomenon is called your Tyndall effect. Now due to this, if I consider the sunlight contains VIBGO, so your dust particles present in the air is colloidal size, and this one reflects back VIB, and combination of VIB gives you blue color to the sky. So this is Tyndall effect. Next one we have to read about the Brownian movement. So it is Brownian movement is continuous zigzag movement of colloidal particles. So you can observe that if in a room the sunlight is coming in a room from a small orifice, then dust particles are dancing. So if we allow the sunlight to come in a dark room in a small opening, then you see that the dust particles present in the room are dancing. So like that, the colloidal particles zigzag movement is called Brownian movement. So actually colloidal particles are like charges. So one particle strike to the other and they move by striking, they are moving haphazardly. This is what creates the Brownian movement. Next topic, an important topic that are going to discuss is charge on colloidal particles. There are several theories on charge of colloidal particles. First, we have to take the one, this is preferential adsorption of ions. For example, if I want to prepare silver iodide salt, so if I take potassium iodide and silver nitrate, I have taken the potassium iodide excess. Here 1 moles of silver required, 1 moles of potassium iodide. If I take 1.5 of that one, that will become excess. In that case, what will happen? Silver and iodine forms the colloidal salt, So this is silver iodide plus KNNO3 forming KNO3. Now student, we have taken this one excess. The 1 mole goes into the direction 1.5 mole left, 0.5 mole left. So that from 0.5 mole we have K positive and I negative. This is from the excess one. Now whatever your silver iodide salt is prepared, on that silver iodide salt, that silver ion and iodine ion, out of that iodine ion present in the solution, so it will adsorb the iodine ion on its surface. So one question arises, why iodine ion? So the crystal of silver iodide made in such a way that its voids are suitable for iodide ion, means like ion, either silver or iodine. Now in the same one, if I take potassium iodide and silver nitrate, this time this one we have taken excess. 1 mole required, we have taken the 1.5 mole of this one. Then we have silver iodide KNO3. This one is exhausted in this reaction, but silver and NO3 left, Ag positive and NO3 negative. Now this excess silver ion get adsorbed on this silver iodide. Initially it is iodine get adsorbed, now silver is going to get adsorbed. Now if silver is going to get adsorbed on its surface, so earlier it is become a negative salt, now it will become a positive salt. Taking this one in the next page also. So this is how the positive negative salt are generated. Now if I consider a solution like that, and if I consider case 2 that I have done in the last page, if I have silver iodide, case 2 is what? Silver nitrate, this one is excess, plus potassium iodide forming your silver iodide KNO3. Since this one is excess of silver and NO3 negative, so these silvers are going to adsorb on silver iodide. So this is silver, silver, silver. Now student, one thing I want to tell you, that if silver that get adsorbed on silver iodide, we have NO3 negative in the solution. In this one we have NO3 negative, NO3 negative. So these silver ions attract the NO3 negative. So the layer of this silver ion is called your fixed layer, and this positive layer attracts the negative that is present in the solution towards it. This one is called your mobile layer. So these two layers makes a new term. This is called Helmont electrical double layer, and the potential difference between these two layer is called zeta potential. The potential difference between these two layers is called zeta potential or electrokinetical potential. So what we have learned that when student, you remember, when a prepared we solve, if we taken this all these things in balanced amount, then there is no problem. But if we take one reactant in excess, from that reactant either positive or negative get adsorbed on the salt, makes a salt positive or negatively charged. Obviously this one attract the positive negative charge from the solution. So there is two types of layer, one is fixed layer, another one is mobile layer is generated. So these two layer is called Helmholtz electrical double layer, and potential difference between these two layer is called electrokinetic potential or zeta potential. Now this is based on totally theory. So this theory is experimentally proved by next two headings. So this theory is proved by under the next two headings. One is your electrophoresis, which proves that there is charge on colloidal particle, and electroosmosis, this one proves that charge of solution. So student, you make it clear, when your silver iodide salt is prepared, then it will either adsorb positive, so that become positively charged, and in that case the solution remains negatively charged. So first of all, we are doing the electrophoresis in a U-shaped tube. Now for example, the colloid that is prepared, for example silver iodide and iodine is there. So this colloid is your negative charge. Now when you connect that one with positive and negative part of the electricity, then since this one is negative charge, that one get and attached into this anode. So this one flows towards a particular electrode, proves that if the electrode is positively charged, the colloid is negative charge. If colloid is positive charge, all the colloid runs towards that negative, or that is cathode. The electrophoresis proves that the charge on the colloidal particles. Now, what is the charge on the solution? This is your colloidal particles. If I consider this one, the charge in the solution will be positive, because colloidal particles are negative. Now this one is negative and this one is positive, and this one is solvent, solvent. So what will happen? And this one is your semi-permeable membrane, this one also semi-permeable membrane. Now when you connect with the current, then what will happen? This negative electrode will attract the positive one. All the positive are moves towards that negative electrode. Then how you can prove that one? You will see that the solution in this one is decreasing, and in that case the solution from left part of your apparatus comes to that, not solution, solvent stream. Solvent in this part decreasing, solvent from this one. Then you will see that the solvent level in this one is decreasing and solvent level in this one increasing. So that proves that there is charge in the solution. So in brief student, what we have learned today, we have learned there is charge on the colloidal particles. Before that we have learned some effects, Tyndall effect, colligative property, all these things. We have learned charge on the colloidal particles, then how the charge comes whenever we take the excess of one reagent, so that colloidal particles either attracts positive or negative ions from this solution. In that case colloidal salt become positive or negative charge, solvent remains in the opposite charge. The charge on colloidal particle is proved by electrophoresis, and charge on solution is proved by electroosmosis. Thank you for student.